ask you, how many reformational centers do we have in Aba?
We have correctional centers.
we have correctional.
Do you understand? We don't care. All the time another outfit opens to sell drinks and meat. Why is it not somebody that is opening a correctional outfit or reformational? I wouldn't want to use the word correctional. Reformational outfit for minors.
Ladies and gentlemen, uncles and aunts, mamas and papas, friends and well wishers, thank you and welcome to yet another beautiful edition of the Chat Spot. Well, like you know, this is where we say it as it is. This is where we have those wonderful, mind-boggling, sensitive, even controversial discussions. Talk about everything on the Chat Spot. And today, I have very wonderful people in the house, very seasoned speakers. These guys are, in fact, I don't need to say too much. But before I introduce my speakers, I want to say that the Chat Spot is here to stay. Alright, so I told you we have wonderful people in the house as we'll be discussing the topic today, dissecting a very important topic today. And to my right, I have Mr. Uchechukwu Koswe Okak. He is, first of all, a very good friend of mine. He is a seasoned master of ceremonies. He is an event planner. He is a copywriter by excellence. This guy does many things. He's a jack of many trades and master of all the trades that he has ventured into. And very soon, he will become my senior colleague. I think I can call him senior colleague now because he really got married and I'll be getting married very soon. So, senior colleague, you're welcome.
Nice to see you.
Yes. I also have in the house another seasoned guest, another seasoned speaker. She is no other person than someone that almost everybody that has a part to play in the life of young people in the city of Aba and beyond knows. This lady is someone that comes in very highly recommended once you want to talk about life coaching, wants to talk about teaching the young people, wants to talk about anything that has to do with serious business about the young people, teenagers. You talk about Ambassador Joyce Akubweze.
Hello everybody, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Sachi. I'm happy to be here with you.
All right, thank you very much. You're welcome. You're welcome. One thing I did not see, I saw one bag you came with. I think there are plenty goodies in that bag. Because every time I see you, the last time I saw her at the Superstar Conference, she gave out some gifts at the Superstar Conference last year. So I don't know, did not tell you that you should come with gifts.
They didn't say it was a conference.
So it's only conference that you carry gifts.
Yes, because I know my people will be there.
All right, so welcome to. Then maybe I will follow you and go and pick my own. Start conference when we leave. So today we will be looking at something that is very, very important. It's actually a cancawon that is sitting very deep into the fabric of our society. And recently, there was this particular headline that made the news. A 15-year-old boy was reported from that was in Ebonyi State. A 15-year-old boy was reported to have allegedly raped a 14-year-old girl. And it wasn't just rape, he physically assaulted the girl. So, with a pistol, so, and then it has raised a whole lot of concerns. And within the space of 3 days, there was another report of another young man who killed and buried his friend, who happens to be also a female. And the report has it that was not just the first time the guy was doing that. He has done it time and this is like the third reported case of murder. And once he kills, he buries. So that brings us to some of the things that, the topic we are going to talk about. And aside these very recent cases, there has been previous reports of issues like this involving minor people, involving children, involving adolescents. So that brings us to the topic. And what is the topic? Juvenile delinquency. That is what we are talking about. We're going to look at the causes of this very trend. We're going to look at some of the ways we are going to, curtail further recurrence of this very trend. Are there things that we are supposed to do? What are those things? Who are supposed to do them? Because it's one thing to know what you're supposed to do, and it's another thing to know how to do them and who to do these things. Ambassador Joyce, I would start with you. You've being a teacher for as long as one can remember. You've taught in the secular space, you've taught in the sacred space, you've taught that when we get to heaven, you might also be a teaching platform. So I would want you to tell us from your wealth of experience and from what a layman would understand, what is juvenile delinquency? Can you make it as simple as you can?
Looking for the simplest now. Juvenile. Okay, let's do this. Delinquency is when I'm just going to do this so that even if you're 5 years old, you will understand what I'm saying. Delinquent, what it means to be delinquent is you do not work according to laid down rules and regulations. That's what it means when we say somebody is delinquent. It means they are not following orders, or I don't want to use the word orders, they don't follow rules or regulations, they don't follow instructions. So that means you're delinquent. And juvenile is the stage where this kind of not following instruction happens, which is the age between childhood and teenagehood. That's the period that we say people are juvenile. So juvenile delinquency is the total refusal to adhere to instructions when it concerns children and teenagers and young people generally. That is what we call juvenile delinquency.
All right. As you too, I know you have something to add, but I would want you to come from the angle of certain examples of delinquencies we see amongst our young people in today's world. Like, I know there are so many things that you look at and be like, you know, like this when I've been very young. Yeah. Those kind of things. That's what I want you to also point out.
All right. When we talk about delinquencies, just like Mama has said, I would say that more of illegal activities. Okay. For example, fraud.
Come into the name. Okay.
Yahoo. So you have rape, you have stealing, you have just a whole lot of them, and they are often engaged in by people we don't expect. Age of children we don't expect. Let's say teenagers, minors. Okay, so it makes us more surprised. So this certain age of can do this kind of thing. Wow. So
before we talk about the causes of some of these delinquencies in society, I served in Delta State. I served in the town called Okwashuku in Delta State. It's an Anyocha local government, local government of Delta State. I saw something that was very mind-blowing. I entered the first day I went to class. They assigned me to S1C. I was supposed to be their form teacher within that particular term. When I went to the class, there were 45 students in the register, according to what they gave me. There were only 27 students in the class. 10 out of the remaining, say, I think that should be 18 that was not in the class. 10 out of them have stopped coming to school. Why? They have gone to HK. 10. Except SS1, nobody in that class was more than 16. So it was between 14, 15, 13. They have gone to HK. In fact, the worst part was that on the particular day I went to complain to the principal to know what will happen. A particular parent came to school that the 11-year-old daughter has said that he's following his elder brother to the HK. That his brother has gone there and is bringing back money. That he wants to go and make her. You see, at 11. You see, it's something that we see, and the worst, some of the things that makes it very mind-boggling is that it is not just the fact that you are doing fraud. It is some of the diabolical activities that accompany this fraud. Where did we go wrong as a people?
Oh, wow. You know, every time I hear where did we go wrong as a people, I personally, I tend to think what we did rather than what we didn't do. Do you understand?
We're talking about commission and
Yes,
not omission.
omission, yes, because mostly it's not omission. I'm not saying omission is going to go scot-free in this matter, but you find out that when we analyze, when we x-ray some of these decadence, especially as it concerns minors, we find out that it is what we did, not really what we didn't do. What am I saying? A parent constantly enforces it on the caregiver, maybe a nanny or somebody that is taking care of toddlers, that whatever these children want, make sure you give it to them. I don't want them to cry for energy. You understand that it is mostly about what we did and not what we didn't do, because you keep doing that and the child continues growing from 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the consciousness starts registering on them that whatever I want, I get. Okay? So it may have been consciously done by the parent or ignorantly done, but it was done. The question is that it was done. That's number one. Because we're looking at where did we go wrong. This is where, because if you want to, yes, you want to expect a challenge, a problem, we want to get to the root as deep as we can. So we start with what in early childhood development, when you want to x-ray a problem, you have to go as early as when the child was 6 months old. That's when behavioral formation begins, not when a child is 5 years old. 6 months.
You're correct.
Yes.
In psychology, that's what they call psychoanalysis.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, 6 months. So, a child is 6 months old. I'm trying to breastfeed my baby and he gives me a bite. He's suckling and he bites me on the nipple. And I laugh over it. I'm not saying you should beat a child that is 6 months old. But there is some psychological connection. There's a deep psychological connection between the mother and the baby. So when the mother frowns her face, the baby at 6 months old realizes, oh, she doesn't like this. But you see, we don't do those things. We wait until the child is 4 years old before we start training them. So the child takes a bite and looks, if you've noticed this scenario,
how will I notice?
if you've ever noticed, paid attention, when they do that, they look straight into the eyes of the mother whenever they do it. So they are looking for either approval or disapproval. But the mother doesn't give the disapproval. She laughs,
And
she makes a joke.
It reinforces the behavior.
So she is subconsciously reinforcing that behavior. So when we talk about raising children, it's not when a child is 15 already and then we're crying off, the head is already off. They've already had set ideologies, and that is the primary cause of delinquency, because nobody stopped them when they were small enough to say, these things are not wrong, these things you can never do. Money is made and not given. Do you understand? Nobody did that. Because I know some parents that will also do this one. You're going out in the morning and what you think is right is to give everybody 1,000. So you keep doing it and they grow up by age 17 to know that money is given. They don't know that money is earned. They don't know that money is worked for. So even by the time that child is 18, they can never want to make earnest living. They want somebody to give them money. Either the person is giving willingly or by coercion. They believe that is how you get money. That's another thing. So I've mentioned where a parent, the mother is breastfeeding. I've mentioned where you're leaving the house in the morning and you tell your housekeeper, please make sure whatever my children ask for, I have made provision. Give them that thing. How many times they ask you is not your business. So, and then I've mentioned this other one, you're giving children money instead of teaching them money education, giving them money education as early as 3, 4 years old. Talk about money. Tell them what an asset is, what a liability is. So they come up knowing that money is earned. I need to engage in legal ventures to make money. So, because there are so many other things anyway, before we even get to the point of peer pressure, there are so many things that happened.
Thank you very much. MCU2, I want you to come from, I was once a teacher too, and what she said is a very important. There was a day there was a fight in school. It was not students fighting. The whole spirit came together to separate fight. What happened? The parents came to fight. The parents came to fight the school. Not want to fight the teacher. Came to fight the school because she was coming. She came with 2 extra people that would help her and beat up the whole school. You know what happened? The child was disciplined for a particular behavior. I want you to come from that angle. Some of the experiences you had. You see, what makes parents? You are not a parent yet. You will soon be.
Upcoming.
What do you think, as a principal, what do you think, or former principal, right? Okay. What do you think makes parents just say, whatever my child wants, give him. Whatever she does, don't bother. Come and report to me. And it's not like when you report to them, they'll do something. No. What informs that very behavior? Like, I want to understand what is the psychology behind wanting to shield your child from consequences of action. From reality.
All right, you know that parenting is a responsibility, and not so many parents understand this responsibility. People in this part of our country give birth because they are married, and not because they are intentional about raising a child, and it's a big problem.
People give birth
because they are married.
They are not married.
Yes. So let's give birth to children. Yes.
So you were saying
something like that.
Wait, what you are saying is that people can be married and choose that we don't want to have
children. Of course.
Not yet.
Of course. You could even have all the money you need to train up a child, but you're not ready for parenting.
Do you know that we are African? You know that the reason why young men marry is because their mother wants to carry children.
But that's not the reason to marry.
So even to start with the foundation of setting up the family is faulty.
It's faulty.
Wow.
So it's a problem. Okay. So now
they are married. So the next is let's get a child.
And because I don't know the basics of parenting, okay, I just want to have a child and then answer a parent. I've given birth to a child. So how much did I prepare myself to raising up this child? So I know nothing about parenting. I know nothing about how to discipline this child. I know nothing about
raising him up in the proper way this child should go.
So I just have a child. Okay? And then I push this my child out. Go to a school. Now he's in the school. There's no background for this child. There's no moral background. There's nothing. This child
comes empty, just like the way he or she comes from the home. Okay, of course, he or she will have seen some threats in the parents. Starting to his weak self in school. So when I now
discipline such child, the parent now comes to fight. So number one is ignorance. It's ignorance. Big ignorance on the side of the parents. Then in some certain factors, it could also be that there are some people who are ready to have children, but the children aren't forthcoming. So at the point, they struggle to have this child. So when the child finally comes, they tend to pamper,
overprotect,
So they are trying to share this child from the realities of life. So a little discipline is now a big problem to them. So they come fighting.
Okay, you brought out certain things. You brought so many things to them, like unpreparedness on the part of the parents. Ambassador Joyce brought out the factor of where she made mention of overindulgence. Indulging the child for every particular thing the child wants. I want to bring you out some. I want to talk about abuse. You see, some of these people become what they experience.
Exactly.
There's this thing they say in computer, garbage in, garbage out. People become what they experience. So many of these people that we see that end up as psychopaths, end up as psychotic deviants.
Yes.
They were exposed to cruelty, they were exposed to abuse when they were very young. According to a particular publication by Vanguard, So this year, just this year, February 21st, 2024, he said 19 million children before the age of 18 are exposed to abuse, physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. So I think it is very important that we look at what our children are exposed to. But then when you are looking at it, I found out something when I was looking at these very statistics. I saw that most of the children that were reported to have been abused sexually and physically, they are men, they are boys, males. So why is it that in our society, when we look at it, we now hear more about the abuse of the female and the child? The male child seems to be overlooked. And that child we overlook today ends up tormenting us tomorrow.
That's the problem tomorrow.
Exactly.
So why is the boy child's abuse downplayed? Because I think it's also a very important factor to look at.
Like, just as Uche already pointed out, parenting is serious business. And you know, in this part of the world, in fact, in this part of the world, we believe there's this tendency for us to have propagated raising the girl child and neglecting raising the boy child. All right? It's still, if not for consistent intervention from CSOs and NGOs taking seminars and sensitization to parents, if not, it will still be quite prevalent right now that you have two children, one is boy, one is a girl. You focus on what the girl is doing and you're not even interested. And when the boy comes, in a scenario where the boy comes to lodge a complaint, he's shoot up. Why are you crying? Don't you know you're a boy? You're a big boy. Sometimes we even add big for him. Do you understand? Okay, so it gives the boy child some pseudo self-esteem. That they shouldn't complain to anybody about what is going on in their lives. And that is why you hardly see a boy complaining. And that is why it looks as if boys are not being abused. Because it boils down to parents again. It has become very, very pertinent that we let boys know they can cry, they can report something, they should feel free to talk about their emotions. So they don't grow up having one fake idea of themselves as people that are beyond pain or beyond being vulnerable and everything. We see it playing out. Now that is how we have one twisted young man on our hands. Do you understand? Whereas the trauma, all those things that happened are living somewhere rent-free in him. However, they're not living there and they're not lying dormant. Those things will later come into
expressed.
Yes, because at the point he begins to see them as normal. Those things that happen to him, he starts seeing them as normal. Okay, fine. Since nobody listened to me when I wanted to talk about it, apparently this is what goes. This is what is obtainable. Do you understand? So he tries it on someone else. Yes, so nothing happens. So that is how the continuation goes. He will go and do it to another person. Most of the boys, like the boy in the first illustration, the one that raped the 15-year-old boy. If anybody will stop and do a good analysis on that case, they will find out that somebody raped that boy. Yes. It's most likely the case.
The plot twist there is that the boy is the child of an army officer. In fact, they live in the back where discipline is supposed to be the order of the day.
Oh, come on, but you and I know that it isn't. You have friends who came from the barracks. Now, that boy is either most likely raped or has seen it happen, was made a witness. Because this is another thing that we're not looking into. Yeah, so many persons, we're not looking into this angle now. That boys and girls are made to watch. They may not be the ones raped, but they are made to watch, which is a mental abuse for them. They are made to watch. Who knows how many times the boy has been made to watch? And as much as abuse affects a human being physically, whether it's psychologically, this is mental abuse. It goes on, and that is your mental formation. So when he goes to do it to that girl, perhaps if he wasn't found out, he would have invited another person to watch. It continues. It is conditioning. Just what Skinner did with dogs. It's conditioning. So we have somebody does it to the boy does it to another person, the person does it to another person, and the show goes on. So most times people who perpetrate abuse, perpetrate molestation, they don't do that in abstract. They are repeating something they have been subjected to, either being a victim or maybe to forcefully watch.
All right. Wow. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you. Thank you to you too. We've established up to this point some of the great causes of juvenile delinquency. Some of the things that we have overlooked. One striking point you made is that it is not something we have not done. There are things we have done. At the same time, there are things we also have not done. Like you pointed out, ignorance. People have not taken time to learn what it entails to even be a parent. And one thing that people should also actually know is that you can be a couple and not have children. It is all right. It's fine.
It is very okay.
When you know you're not
ready. Because you yourself need to get food.
And people think that
not being ready,
not having the finance,
not having money, it's not even about money. Because when you have money and you have children and you don't know what to do with them, the money is useless.
them up.
It's useless. But then there's another group that believes, I grew up now, I saw my parents, how they dealt with me, so that is parenting.
I can deal with another person. Yeah. But then when the scriptures say you train up a child in the way, it requires that you have to know that way.
The way.
So if someone doesn't know the way, should the church even join that person?
Exactly. When they go for marriage counseling, I know for a fact that they don't bring out 2 or 3 sessions in that marriage counseling to do parenting. They don't do it. They're focused on the 2 persons that are going to get married. They're forgetting that in another 18 months there will be another person involved in that setup.
So there should be an extension of the.
That should be if this marriage seminar should be it should not just be the pastors teaching these people. They are parental.
Bringing child experts.
Yes, bring them in and incorporate them. Let it be a wholesome.
Yes, I agree.
So that we actually be sure that these people are ready, not just to be couples, but also to be parents.
Yes, in Africa, once you're married, everybody's right
counting the months and the weeks for
why is it happening? Why have you not done it? There's a lot of questions we ask in this part of the world. But then, from this very recent issue that happened, which I just highlighted, the case of the bison boy that killed, not killed, attempted murder, that's attacked violently this girl and raped her at the same time. It's brought a whole lot of issues up. It's incensed the internet, of course. People were like, yes. So we're calling for his death, say this is a demon, let's kill him, this one will end up worse than the hardest criminals we've had. If he could do this at 15, what can he do? It is one thing to rape, it's another to first incapacitate before you now carry out your action. Yeah. So someone was like, she wanted to kill. I don't know if it was the intention was to kill or to render the girl incapacitated so that she wouldn't resist.
Yeah.
So, but to even have the mind to conceive that is actually a very serious issue to look at. So, MCB2, what do you think? Are you in support of these people that are saying, let's incarcerate this boy? Let's give him the full weight of the law. Yes, that is due an adult, because what he committed is supposed to be an adult offense.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I'm not a party to jungle justice. Okay. So because people want to take us into their own hands. to that, maybe do what they want to that child at that point in time. But I believe in people, whether you're a child, if you come to the age of knowing what you're supposed to know, I believe in taking responsibility for your actions. Because if we continue to say, because some school of thought will say, oh, let's play this child, let's rehabilitate him. The more we keep rehabilitating them, the more we keep causing danger to the society. I believe in if, okay, this child, all this committed is a crime, attempted murder, to prosecute them.
Do you believe that you should face this as an adult? What an adult will face, let him face.
Yes.
But where I would say where the law makes provision for you to be prosecuted as an adult only when you're 18, and this child is below 18 that has committed this. Anyway, I digress. There's something that comes to my mind that I want to say because of where you're going. Now, if we want to zone in on this boy that has done this, want to zone in on this boy, what are we going to do to the person that maybe introduced him to watching terrible movies? Hold that thought. What are we going to do to the person that maybe introduced him to watching pornography? Because somebody did. There was an introduction.
Yeah.
Yes. So the human mind wants to practice what is learned, whether it is good or bad, but the end result is practicing it. So this boy has been watching, because when we talk about minors and we don't bring adults to book, there's no balance.
But it could also be that
They could no, he didn't conjure.
But there's peer pressure. They are, you know,
Okay, you could have learned from.
yes, you could have learned from social media.
Okay, fine. If he learned from social media, who's behind the social media? Adults. Who is behind his peers that told him? Some adult coached the peer. It's a vicious circle. Do you understand? Perhaps there was an absent parent who is always traveling and leaving the boy at home alone, and he gets to watch whatever he pleases. So it boils down.
That's usually the case.
Because I have children who have come to me to report, ma'am, this person is watching rubbish in their house. And I say, well, how did you know? Because
like,
he was telling me,
rubbish?
do you understand what is rubbish? They will tell me what is rubbish. So how did you know he watches rubbish? They will tell me that he is telling us stories. Do you understand? And then I call this other person that is reported. Why and how and where? How did you? I watched it in my house. You mean in your daddy's house? Yes. Which TV? Our TV in our parlor. I watched it. Where were your parents when you watched it? They traveled. So
And left the boy on that no.
yes, you have to go back to the basics. And this boy maybe is the first child, and there's another one that is maybe 5, and there's another one that is maybe 3, and they're all left alone, and they watch whatever. And then did I remind you that there's a whole lot of infiltration, even in cartoons this time.
Yeah.
There's arson integrated into cartoon, there's murder, there's everything integrated into cartoons, and children are watching. The next place we're going to was stepping from this 15 to an 8-year-old committing this same thing.
There was this report that came. That one did not happen in Nigeria. I think it came last month. It made the headline. A particular girl killed the cousin. They were fighting over a dog. I think she killed the cousin with a pillow. Like, the girl was lying and she killed, and then arranged the girl like nothing happened. Like,
You know that Western life. That's where I'm actually coming from. The Africans.
Yes, I want you to talk about external influence as a strong point. External influence, what I mean by consumption, you know.
what we watch the wife.
Yes.
What them do? Because I'm not surprised that in the Western culture, that child will not be punished.
No, the truth of the matter is that some people were appealing that she should be tried like an adult, because no, it is not just killing the girl that is the problem. It is the concealment of the act. You finished executing your crime, you now covered your tracks. That is a very
It's a big down crime.
No, there was premeditation. And she took her time to cover her tracks. So that was where people were coming from to say, but the point is that the girl is 11.
You see, she's 11. She's 11. Very soon, I didn't know there's an 11-year-old case.
That was why I had to
We're going to 8 and 7. That's the next news that we're going to go to. 8 and 7. And somebody will say, judge the 8-year-old as if they were adults. No. Let me ask you, how many reformational centers do we have in Aba?
We have correctional center.
we have corrections.
Do you understand? We don't get all the time another outfit opens to sell drinks and meat. Why is it not somebody that is opening a correctional outfit or reformational? I wouldn't want to use the word correctional. Reformational outfit for minors, where minors can be taken and then something done to reform the mindset, to recondition their perception, and then be able to get involved, and there's an authority that will become in between their parents. You see, okay, what they do in the Western world, at a point they will collect your children.
Yes, and take so child care.
Do you understand that? Take them in where certain things will be removed from them, certain behavioral traits. Are we doing those things in Nigeria? No, nobody is doing all of that. Children are just on the loose. You can flog your child, you can do whatever you want with your child, as long as the people brag and say he's my child, if I kill him, I'll give birth to another child. If it happens in the Western world, your neighbor will call the police already, call the social service. So what I'm trying to, I don't know if we've started talking about solutions. I don't know.
We are just talking about, you can move from there, but then we want to know what should be done to this one. This is the one that has been reported.
I am not.
What do you think?
It is my personal opinion, right? But I don't subscribe to him being treated as an adult. Because one, he is not an adult. He's 15. There's 3 more years. And then, in the course of prosecuting the matter, because actually he's being prosecuted, whether he's going to end up in the adult prison or not, yes, or juvenile center, which I'm still looking for where they are.
In
Nigeria.
So that's the
Yes, that is the problem. I'm still looking for where they are. Where are they going to send him? That's why I'm saying, because there's hardly anybody coming out of prison in Nigeria that is reformed.
That doesn't go back.
Do you understand? It gets worse than when they made it. Do you understand? So if we're sending him there, we might as well say, okay, let's cement the building. Finally, that we have one more criminal. He's going to get hardened by the time he's coming out. Have we achieved anything? No. But we can save him. He can be saved. He can be saved. But the problem is, are the government paying attention enough to these matters? No, they are not.
The authorities, it boils down to the authorities. What are they doing about it? Because the more we are waiting to treat these children as children, the more they are wasting money. I can remember that a gun had been pointed at my head on my phone, and I was a teenager. Understand? When you hear that people are being shot, they are teenagers. Yes, cultism. They are teenagers. You hardly see 23, 24 doing cultism in some areas. You understand? So it's a problem. So the authorities need to come in. They need to come in. Know what to do about this. Because we keep losing our young ones. Okay? We keep losing them to crimes, and we keep losing some others to death. You understand? So that's why my opinion came out. Say, if you catch this one, if it can be able to help to protect the other ones, why not proceed? Since we don't have information centers in Nigeria, right?
There are information centers, but I don't
know how whether they are working. I don't know whether they are working.
What the efficiency, I don't know, but I know
the percentage, the presence of it.
Yes.
Is it loud? It's not loud. It's not loud. It should be. If we must save the next generation and the generation that follows, it's getting scarier by the day that nobody's going to do anything about children. So become an adult anyhow you want to become an adult. That is the order of
Once
the day.
you grow, you grow.
That's the order of the day. It is made worse by the fact that parents will call their children and say, "Didn't you see your friend? He bought this. This is it's very popular right now.
Yes.
Didn't you see your friend? Didn't you see your friend? Didn't you see your friend?" And
Yes.
he keeps on thinking, and one day he decides to take a decision.
There was this guy that made a tweet. I stumbled on that tweet. It was very painful. The guy was explaining how he had planned to send the young boy living with him, who happens to be a relative. He was planning on how to send him to school, and then the particular course the guy was already interested in. He wanted to be a tech guru because the boy had been exposed to certain tech fields and he had developed interest in technology. So this guy has bought form. He had filled the form. He had paid something in the neighborhood of 300 and something thousand for it's a specialized education for this very boy. The week the boy was supposed to start the education, the mother came from the village. And Mama, you are welcome, you are welcome. She did not come to hear that one. Where is let's call the boy Obina. Where is Obina? I will send him to get something. I'm going back to the village with him. Say why? And his mates are bringing cars. I mean, he's a very smart boy.
Exactly.
Let him go and do what he's meant
I have a
to
personal
do
story on
and
this.
Exactly.
buy cars.
Someone I know I know the child.
That pressure, because this thing has gone away from peer pressure. It's
So
parental pressure.
I have someone. I have a child about 15 or 16 thereabout. So we went for a gathering. So I saw them and said, "How is your son?" He said, he has gone to HQ. It was the father telling him.
Like
Yes,
it was a bad statement. It's like it's a testimony.
Boldly, mothers are taking their children by the hand like this and bringing them.
Like we used to do what they call
apprenticeship. Your mom
That's our boy system.
Very funny thing. The man told me that he's praying to let God favor them through this child that
Which God?
to this HQ. So
Even the boys that are doing the thing, they will tell me that they are having that they are waiting for God's grace. And I'm wondering, like they are waiting for grace to do what exactly?
grace to commit crime.
My God.
It's actually, I made bold to say that there's a large degree of failure on the side of parents. Because we keep churning out people, two adults who do not know jack about parenting. Their population increases every Saturday.
My friend told me.
Do you understand?
My friend told me last week in their family meeting that like kinsmen, their clan meeting, when they come back and they share food and everybody, it's that at that point you know that you don't live before your and everybody knows who is supposed to take before and after them. Something happened. As he came back, he was very infuriated. I said, "What happened?" His own uncle asked the clan for a land where he would build. Since 2023, June, the clan was still yet to decide where to give him to build. A particular young boy, his cousin, that went into we know what, and then came back, Budike, like we say it in Igbo language. He has made it very large. He came back and gave money. First of all, only for the first meeting, he gave money at 250,000 naira. So, and now tendered his request to ask for where he would build.
Exactly.
He's not yet married, but he has asked for where to build. Now, in the next family meeting, the the chairman of the Umona had already started discussing or to map out where to give the ball to go and build. That was where the boy's father now stood up and said, "No, things are not done like that. It caused trouble." He said that everybody scattered it was not the boy that brought the money that said, "No, who is the person that wants the land?" He told him his uncle, because the cousin of this other friend of mine. He said, "No, let him pick before him that his uncle."
But you saw there that adults
that's what
were carried away by money.
Greediness.
Money, ill-gotten money. Now, who are the people giving apartments to 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds at a very high price, as against somebody that is ready and legally qualified in that apartment? A landlord who is a full-fledged adult, possibly an elder.
Exactly.
I have stories for this.
Because the boy can pay.
I came back from Ghana last 2 months. Last 2 months, I was driving to take my pastor's son to the airport to pick the guests that will be coming to preach in the church. A boy I'm certain that boy is not more than 15. He passed us with the latest RX 350 product. RX, you know this Lexus RX 350. I think that is going to be 2022 model. Where did that get that money from? Like, he passed us, we continued our journey and we laughed. When we were coming back, the boy had come down, he was shouting at police officers that you didn't know who he is.
Who are you at the age of 16?
Who are you at the age of 16? You very small boy. You didn't know who he is. My brother will be a dead. We packed to watch because we are already done, we are already taking the person, so we had nothing to do. We decided to watch to see what will happen. So this thing that happens in Nigeria happens here too. The 15-year-old boy made the call. A full-fledged officer of the police was now did not come. Was now told him to give the phone to the person that stopped him. I wanted to query him as regards his misconduct on the road. Then the person was not shouting at the police officer. The officer was just asking, yes sir. Yes sir.
Have you seen the authorities?
Since we started talking, I wanted us to come to one agreement. Before anything will change, we have to just commonly agree that the system has failed us. The system has failed children. The system has failed young people. So if we're going to throw this one away today, as you're throwing this one away that did this thing, so another one is watching, as I'm talking now, this second, another 14-year-old is watching pornography. Another 12-year-old is watching murder movies. How to get away with murder. They are watching
1,000 ways
to understand. They are watching it right now as we're talking. Tomorrow there'll be another one. Next tomorrow there'll be another one. And it continues. And as long as facilities are not provided, measures are not put in place, child-friendly policies are not being enacted, there is nothing that is being done. When was the last time you heard about a child-friendly policy on the radio? Do you listen to the news? Do you follow the news? What are they saying about making the child safe? It's not there's a scary agenda going on, and it's not child-friendly. There's a scary agenda going on worldwide, and it's anti-child.
What is this agenda?
An agenda against innocence. Do you understand what I mean? So nobody really gives 2 cents about you crying about children. So it now comes back home to you doing the little you can from the corner where you are. Then him doing the little he can from the corner where he is. Because globally, there's an anti-innocence agenda that is being pushed. Pushed through media, pushed through schools and everything. Government will push books that contain pornography in the name of social studies book. I don't know whether you've seen it. So which child do you want to save? Which one do you want to keep?
You even hear while on Twitter and the one they call X now, you see people tweet things like, when you want to teach people about the importance of sexual purity and they tell you who virginity has. Who does it not help?
So there's an anti-innocence, anti-child agenda that is vehemently being pushed by the powers that be.
The parents have more work to do.
Do you understand? So it becomes on the parents to look inwards and see what they can sit up, go and get some parenting education. People are there. There are a couple persons that are, as far as Nigeria is concerned, that's where I know. My knowledge is limited to who is doing what in Nigeria. But I know that there are people who have taken it upon themselves to help parents get the right dose of information, like we talked about ignorance. And remember, it says ignorance is not an excuse. Another person will say ignorance is bliss. Oh, because I didn't know. No, but ignorance is not an excuse. So let parents stand up. There is war already. Seriously? There is war on childhood. They want to eradicate innocence. So what are you doing to add to what they are bringing? You may unknowingly be helping that agenda by refusing to do the right things.
So that brings us to the remedy. So you're talking about remedy already. How do we curtail the trend of juvenile delinquency? How do we stop the ones that have not joined? How do we demarcate fraud? How do we demarcate crime for young people? Then there's no road here. Follow here. Take this route to take you to the desired destination that will think this other person is going to. How do we do this? How do we achieve this? That is where we are now. It's you to
Okay, first and foremost, like you say, I think we start from the home. The home is where the child begins. If a child has a faulty background, believe you me, his entire age as a human being be faulty. Except if God comes to them and do any intervention. So parents should sit up. Parents are going to sit up so that they can understand that like Mama said, this policy that is going around is going to affect people. I know one funny thing. The effects of this thing will not come now. Give it 5, 6, 7 years. You see what the world will turn into. Because we are turning children who do not have good background from their home. Born by parents who don't understand their left. And do you also know that most of the parents are even, how do I put it? You see someone, they are cohabiting, they're not even married, okay? They are just cohabiting, so they just find themselves, maybe 2 vulnerable people who just came out of the street and they have a child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a problem in society. Because the father knows nothing about parenting, the mother knows nothing about parenting, so they bring out an issue, and this child begins to see all sort of rubbish as a child growing up. Okay, so the parents, I'm begging them, let them sit up. Don't just sit up and train the girl child, train the boy child too.
Yes.
Because if you train the girl child and you don't train the boy child, you're still causing problem to the one you train.
Yes.
Let me give you an instance. Where I schooled, I had a neighbor, next door neighbor. My next door neighbor, where I schooled in University of Nigeria. I studied psychology. So while I was in final year, my next door neighbor went to the lodge of his supposed girlfriend at that time and beat up the girl. The girl fainted and they took the girl to the hospital. The lodge where the girl was staying there now had a meeting. They said, you would kill somebody in this lodge and we would run away. We don't want that to happen because every time you come here, you beat up this girl. Just that today's one was worse than the previous ones. She got hospitalized. When the girl woke up in the hospital, because they had already banned this boy from coming to the house, when the girl woke up, she went straight to the house and packed her properties and nothing to live in her body. You understand? Like she was beaten and she became unconscious. She now woke up in the hospital, went home to carry the small property she had. She now came to live. Since you people had told him not to come and visit me again, I'm not coming to live with him. She now came. When I came back and saw her, I was like, what are you doing? I said, I just said to come and save some things. Like, you came to stay in the house of the person that wants to kill you. Now, it was later I was now engaging the girl and I found out that that is what she has been exposed to. That's where I come from abuse.
Exactly.
Now, the boy that was beating her, the same boy that was beating her, is also coming from a single parent home. Exactly. The both parents don't live together. And the only time he speaks to his father is when he wants to collect money. Okay. Now, if he's with his mother and he calls his father and shouts, they go shout towards that call. But his own sister, the mother has made sure that she will never tolerate abuse. So she was always telling her, the boy's sister, never you tolerate this nonsense and tolerating from your father. So she had succeeded in telling this girl that you are worth more than what I am passing through. Don't allow it to shape your perception. Yeah. That girl doesn't take nonsense, but this one is busy. The boy is busy dishing out nonsense.
Same thing.
Because he has been ignored. The father didn't teach him. The father modeled this lifestyle. The mother didn't counter the modeling. So there was nothing to learn from, apart from what he has been exposed to.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm saying that it is very important that we also look at the environment where people are coming from. It is very, very important.
It's very, very important.
Because people become what they
even such that in homes where the man went to his in-laws, even went through the eye of enemy to marry the wife, we know they are legally married and all of that, all protocols observed. Even then, so many fathers are absent. I mean, they are there, but they are absent. Do you understand? They are grossly distracted by business, money. Yes, they are very, very absent. We have an increasing number of absentee fathers. There's a place of a father in the raising of a child. There is a place, there's something that a father does for both children, whether it's male or female. A girl child needs her father, a boy child needs his father even more. So we have absent parents all over the place. I have children in the school where I work who see their fathers like 3 times in one day because my daddy doesn't live with us. He's working somewhere. Apparently, the woman who is legally married is indirectly a single mother. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's causing a lot of trouble. It's causing a lot of wahala everywhere. This woman cannot deal with 3, 4, 5 children. So it now seems like when the man shows up, is to come and drop another baby in your tummy. And then, do you understand? Then he comes back for child education. Then he travels again. Then he comes back for birthday. And that is how the child is going to grow up. This is another important thing that we need to push this narrative, push the conversation even into churches. Yes. Because the people that we're talking about, the absentee parents, they come to church. Yes. We need to push this thing very seriously in the church. That parenting is disappearing. Children are giving birth to and expected to grow up, however how.
You see a child of 7 taking care of 3 siblings.
Let's not even talk about parentification because I don't know whether I can maintain that.
It frustrates that it puts a lot of pressure on the child. On the particular one that is their eldest.
Yes.
There's a lot of strain on her because she doesn't.
When I was in school principal, there was this child I always come to school by 10:30. She was expected to take the other siblings to their various schools
before she reports to her own school.
And if you call a parent to come to school, they will never see them.
They will ignore exactly. They will ignore you. So that child you see there is on her own.
Never see them.
And this is that like her biological parent.
Yes.
They will even send a message to her to tell you how they busy.
When you send for them, they will tell you that's why you're there as a teacher. The one I didn't do well, do it. that's where we are getting to. Okay.
That's why we pay school fees.
And I think it's important that government need to look into schools, look into school curriculums. They should be able to get curriculums that are resonant with the child. They should get curriculums that should. I'm not just getting curriculums. They also get personnel, aside from teachers employed in schools. They are people who are trained. They are people who have gone through processes in handling children. They should also be part of the school system.
Yes. So
they can help a lot too. Because
the counselors.
Yes, exactly what I'm looking for.
At some point they disappeared.
Yes.
At some point. Back in our
I remember when I was in primary school, we had counselors.
Guidance counselors. So if there's any deviance, they call their attention. Yeah. But right now, who are you going to call? So a lot of things have really gotten bad.
Yes, it got bad. I must have to say this because we seem to forget. Poverty is a very, very Herculean. In fact, it's one of the strongest enemies that we have to fight.
Yes, of the family.
Of the family, of the child, of the society. Poverty is bad. People say, oh, we are my joker. The truth of the matter is that the parents may want to be interested in the child's upbringing, but he has to go and make money to feed this child. And what the mother is making is not enough, or what the father is making is not enough.
The thing is, how much has he made
before?
No. Now that he's leaving this child to go and hold money, what is the evidence?
Is he not making the money?
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
You understand?
Okay.
Are you not still struggling? And then I think there's another angle to it. The one that you just brought up now. When you're getting married, at least I see that if we can start doing that, I'm just saying, let's push all this narrative. Can people stop overbearing children? Yes, is it possible that
Mama, I have to say this right now.
Because if you have 2 children, and God has not given us a spirit of confusion and stupidity, He gave us a sound mind.
Yes.
And the sound mind, we're not using it. If you have 2 children, we'll have less of, less of all of this running around. Mommy leaves, daddy leaves, and then.
One man said that one of the easiest things for a poor man to do is to have children.
To bear children.
It's one of the simplest things that he has.
That's the only source of abandonment.
That's the only source of
But then,
if he goes and come, Mama, how are you?
But then,
another child.
People shouldn't give birth to what they cannot to get up. Okay,
No, we give birth to and believe that God will train them.
Oh, why you believe it?
Like God will come
Oh,
down.
See, do you know that people who even have the resources to gather for as many children as possible, they don't give birth to
They give birth to a few.
You see a very wealthy man have only one
I
child.
give examples. Give
How many
examples.
one
They
child?
have many.
Many of
We
them.
have many examples. We have many examples.
The only rich man I know that has many children is only a woman. I don't know why that man was born like a village man.
So, but no,
Only is the only rich man I know.
But then all the children are doing well.
But then the point that even if you had tripled the number of children,
but the thing is, no offense.
Even
Yes, I will.
if he triples the number of
I want
children,
his defense because
he would
he pays attention.
he has time more.
Cuts out time.
He has time.
It boils down to what we call intentional parenting.
That man
You
has
have to cut out
time.
time. Whether you're rich or you're not rich, cut out cutting out the time is where the problem is.
Even at your level as a poor man, there should be some level of intentionality. But then we cannot underestimate the influence of poverty in child rearing, even in the school system. It is also poverty that makes some of those counselors to resign from their homes. They are feeling a certificate because certificates are again young man.
But you know, this
They are in the shopping center.
you know, this is why we need to teach children self-contentment. All of us didn't have everything we wanted when we were growing up. And the problem we have in each generation is that a child wants to arrive at a stage where a 60-year-old man has arrived.
When he's like 20.
When he's like 16.
I saw someone was asking one guy, a popular influencer on Twitter, who said, I saw a boy private chatted him and was telling him that he's frustrated in life. That he was reading the message that, when he was not replying, he was like, I was seriously reading your message. It was at the end of the message that the boy now added, I'm 18 by the way.
And you're frustrated.
You know what is frustrating at 18?
What could be frustrating that? Maybe probably
his friends.
Yes.
Frustrating a child with just two things: peer pressure and parental pressure. We've ignored parental pressure in whole lots. Every time we come together to talk about teenagers, peer pressure, and you see parental pressure. I am telling you, is twice worse than peer pressure.
Because if you live in your parents' house, you lack mental sanity.
Because for an 18-year-old to say that, there's something mom or dad is saying at home. I see some of these children, some of the teenagers, some of them come to me. My mom said, my dad said, my mom said, there's one of my daddy's friend that his son said he wants to marry me. This one, that one. It keeps on coming. There's pressure to do so much, pressure to, there's the move to collect childhood from them as early as possible. Do you understand? And turn them into adults. And some parents want to now, finish their unlived lives through their children.
There's a whole lot to unbox on this remedy. We can't exhaust it. That's the truth of the matter. But then, like you said, parental pressure. There was this 17-year-old girl that somebody was in. Some of these TikTok interviewers that would go around interviewing young children and adults. He was asking the girl, so at what age did you now start sending money to your parents? She said, I started like last year. So last year you were 16. She said, no, before I became 16.
Okay.
I already started sending money.
Okay.
So what is the highest amount you give it to your parents? At once, I mean. Yes, then you say 100,000.
Okay.
At 16.
At 16.
So what do you do? You say, I'm a student, so I'm not doing anything.
So where
did you get the money from? It's my boyfriend.
Oh.
Does your parents know you have a boyfriend?
Yes, they do.
So where do you live now? I live with my boyfriend. So, you see.
It used to be in the days, back in the days,
Parental.
a 21-year-old is seen with a boy and dealt with
very
But
well.
right now, you just narrated this. So you're the one narrating that a 16-year-old said, my parents are aware that I have this boy.
Well, I don't think we can exhaust
We
it.
cannot, my
We've
brother.
done quite so much on this topic. We've talked about the causes of juvenile delinquency. We've talked about who is to be blamed. Do we blame the parents? Do we blame the child themselves? Do we blame society? Do we blame their friends? Do we blame their peers? Who do we blame? Do we blame the media? But then it boils down to everybody sitting up and facing what they have to do as responsibilities. The teachers have responsibilities over the lives of the students, committed into their hands. The parents have responsibilities over the lives of the children that they gave birth. The children themselves also have responsibilities over their own lives. Yes, you have responsibility over your life. You can choose to be what you want to be, even though you were not given the proper background, the proper foundation, proper upbringing. You can choose to decide within yourself that I will turn a new leaf. Before we wrap it up, do you have any final words in 1-2 sentences?
Okay. First of all, I would like to encourage every parent to sit up. There's a whole lot of work to do. Don't just leave your child to be vulnerable. Train your child. Train your child and give your child proper training. It's very important. And secondly, I would like to advise schools. They should be able to not just begin to see children as a money-making venture. They should give in their best to make sure that the children that are coming into this school, we are training them to become relevant, to become important in the society, and not just to become irregular persons in the society. Then the government, the government should sit up. There are a whole lot of laws to make, there are a whole lot of things to look into. They should not just relax. If it means taking ownership of some of the children, they should do. Just like we have in some Western world. I think it will also help a bit. So please, everybody should sit up. Parents, schools, and government, so that we can be able to raise wholesome children.
I think if I leave you, you would also take it further, because you just mentioned something very important. Seeing children as money making ventures other than people that should be impacted. That is a very good one for the schools. Ambassador Joyce, your final words.
So he's actually said, he said nearly everything that we want to say. It's a collective effort, because it is a collective failure. So it's going to take a collective effort to redeem children, starting from the parents, down to the teachers, and the society at large. If it's possible, let's go back to the time where a child does not belong to only the parents, if it's possible.
The way we say it in Igbo language,
Exactly.
well, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we will draw the curtain on today's edition of the Chat Spot. Like I told you, this is where we talk about everything that helps the society get better. We talk about the sweet, we talk about the sensitive, talk about the bitter, we talk about even the controversial, we talk about everything here. And it will be my singular honor and pleasure to appreciate my guest once again. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. I am very much delighted to have you on this episode of Chat Sports. Thank you. And my name remains Saki. See you some other time.